There's an example that has become famous in the personal finance world in the West. That of skipping coffee. There, it is common to buy coffee from a place like Starbucks every single day. It costs about $3. There are several examples of how if that money was saved every day and invested instead, it'd have grown someone's wealth by a much bigger margin. Different versions of these keep floating around. Another one is to do with the amount you should be investing. Invest around 50% of your annual income. Or, if you bought Maruti stocks instead of buying a new car from Maruti, you'd end up richer by some percentage. If you bought Apple stocks instead of a new phone, so on and on. Technically, these are all true. Many should realize that the ones giving this advice often are much richer than the people receiving this advice. If you are the sort of a person who buys a car just because you want to change, you can easily skip buying a new car. If you are a regular person who needs a car every day, you can't just skip buying a car. A normal person struggles to invest 50% of their annual income. If you're rich, it's much easier to save 50%. You'll still be able to lead a very lavish lifestyle with the remaining 50%. The absolute cost of certain items remains the same no matter how rich or poor you are. Water, electricity, food, internet, these cost the same for every person. But if viewed from the perspective of percentage, the picture changes. What percentage of your income do you spend on food? It'll be much higher than someone who is very rich. The same goes for spending on opportunities and investments. Investing 1 lakh rupees buying a good laptop is a no big deal for some and a big chunk of money for others. This is inherently the problem with finance advice. It can't be the same for everyone. It depends immensely on how much you earn, how much you spend, how much you must spend in the coming future, and so on. This is why, no matter what advice you hear, watch, or read, if it is not tailored for you, it is not necessary you follow it. Genius billionaires who quit college and started multi-billion companies while still in their early 20s sounds like a great idea, something more people should try out. The media does glorify this as an extremely bold and gutsy step some very young and smart people took. Until that is, you factor in the risk facing many of them was far less. Bill Gates and Mark Zuckerberg came from relatively well-to-do families where money wasn't really a problem. Dig deeper and you'll be surprised how many tech billionaires came from privileged backgrounds. Can a normal middle-class person afford to follow the kind of path they followed? Maybe not. You know your entire situation very well. Do you know theirs? Often, we see only a part of the entire picture, not the entire picture. And at the end of it all, you need to acknowledge that not all advice out there is meant for the good of others. A big chunk of it is meant only to make someone, the advice giver, seem important. In more recent years, people have realized the importance of personal branding. In its early years, Tesla made cars with quite a few flaws. CEO Elon Musk's public persona was greatly responsible for carrying the brand through the tough times. Similarly, more CEOs are trying to develop a public persona because it helps the company gain traction. It lends the product or service a human face. In such an era where a face or a personal brand helps to such an extent in selling something, everybody wants to appear to have noble intentions. A lot of junk advice arises from this endeavor to appear helpful, while not actually caring if the advice makes sense. No matter what the advice, sit and ponder on it before